Hey, everybody, welcome to another Bourbon and Blockchain Happy Hour. This is where we get together and we talk with friends about current events and crypto news, and we give you guys how we feel about it, and we let you guys have your opinions. So if you guys have something to say, drop it in the chat. We'll try to highlight it when we get a chance. And today, specifically, we'd like to welcome our special guest, Carolina Keith. Mr. Keith the Professor, how are you, sir?
Not too bad. Retired life is weird.
Yeah, congratulations on that. You've been retired for what, 2 weeks now?
Like 2.5. I'm honestly, man, I don't even know. It's
It's just
weird
blowing
because
by.
the time is odd. It doesn't make sense to be here. Uh, Doing what I'm doing doesn't make sense at all. I don't feel like it sounds stupid, but I don't feel like I should be here doing this. I don't feel like I should be the one. I feel like there should be other people, which I think there will be soon. But somehow I ended up here, so here I am. I'm not going to complain about it. It's just odd to me. And forgive my voice. It's been out since last Thursday, and it's slowly coming back. So we're getting there with the voice. I don't know what happened.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are very glad to have you. You're a bright shining voice in the space. I know you can hear the sarcasm coming out of that, but no, seriously though, your opinions are very valuable, and we love having you on the show. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Well, thank you. We can expunge upon that more later. I know we got some topics. We could got some topics to talk about. I don't want y'all to steal all the time and stuff. So
Oh, absolutely. Well, this is what we do. We get in here and we talk about what's going on in the market. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Uh, so today, one of the first things we're going to talk about is Cardano's. Charles Hawkinson's criticizes the consensus. So for those who don't know, earlier in the week, Consensus actually owns part of MetaMask and Infura, and Infura and MetaMask started shutting down access to their websites and to their their portals, for example, to specific areas in the world. And part of that information and what was going on with that was being uh, sh- you know part of that was being criticized by other individuals. And one of the things that came out recently is that part of that company, Consensus, was actually being purchased by JP Morgan Chase. And it wasn't like big news. Nobody really announced it. This happened in 2020, and all of this information came up recently. So we'll start off with our special guest. How do you feel about big companies getting into crypto and buying into these types of projects?
first instinct is it good press, and that's about it. Um, it feels like they want to creep their way in by buying work that's already been done for them, which is cool. It's exactly how companies like the UFC got so big. Rather than compete with Pride Fighting Championships or any other company, they just went and bought them. It was brilliant. I don't like backroom deals. That being said, I've said this story before, but I've been on the golf course with guys before who were doing backroom deals on a Saturday, and I didn't understand what was going on at the time. And then he told me very politely while we drank beer, "Hey, Keith, mind your business. This is how business works." And I thought, hmm, well, now I know. And I was like, well, how can I be the guy on the other side of the phone? And he goes, well, you have to work to get there. And now I get it, right? I didn't get that at the time. Um, that's welcome to the real world, everybody. Backroom deals get done, and you don't have to like it. As
Yeah,
far as
that's a good
JP,
point of view.
as far as JP Morgan doing it, what do you think was going to happen? They're like,
Hmm.
I mean, let's be real here. It's JP Morgan. He's one of the people who built the country. Like, for
Hmm.
God's sakes, you think he ain't going to get his way? Of course, he's going to get his way. He's going to get to do whatever he wants. Maybe he pays a fine. Oh, boo hoo. So when you think of it in those terms, um, it's no big deal. It's really no big deal. Good for MetaMask that they got a big company buying them. I think that's awesome. Um, Charles Hoskinson sounds a little salty that he didn't get part of the deal, but you're not J.P. Morgan, so too bad.
Yeah, I think that's a good point of view. Myron, you're up next, and I wanted to add to that. Do you think that the reason why some of these countries were blocked out had to do with influence, for example, maybe from the U.S. government or sanctions or regulation, because of the large amount of the company that was purchased by J.P. Morgan Chase? Do you think that had any influence on that?
Was that for me
Yeah.
or? Well, I'll say this first about J.P. Morgan Chase. Jamie Dimon with Demon, whatever you call his name is, man, that guy looks like a mob boss, man. Like there's one time where he went I think Biden was talking about him, and Biden says, well, I just want to welcome my good friend Jamie. And he's like, oh, I mean Mr. Diamond, CEO of JP Morgan Chase. But all these people, man, they're extremely well connected, and just like Keith said, man, like they get all these deals. And I feel like there has been a time I remember reading about these articles that he was against crypto, but I feel like they have been slowly loading up and getting more exposure into this space. And when they officially come out and say, "Hey, we're in this," they already have a huge bag ready.
Yeah, that's a good opinion. Smokey, what are your thoughts?
So my worry is JP Morgan is kind of positioning themselves to be the Google of Web3. And I think Hoskinson is just kind of ringing the alarm bell. So everybody kind of knows like Google and Facebook suck, but they got such a big market share early that people still use them. And we're now starting to see the early signs of MetaMask doing shady behavior. On our last pod, we saw MetaMask was blocking people in Iran and Venezuela from accessing their accounts. And I think I saw another article today where MetaMask was blocking people from countries that were allies of Russia from accessing their MetaMask accounts. So, I mean, I agree with Keith. I mean, this is just the way the world works. But, you know, is this going to be the New World Order wallet, you know, going forward? And are we going to be in a situation where we've kind of crossed the line where MetaMask has such a big market share? They're like Google now, where people are going to use them and they're just going to get away with all this shady behavior.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's another good point. Maverick, you're up next, and I'll throw a little bit of a twist onto it as well. Based on this specific article dealing with this issue, do you think that maybe this is the next way to tell people that we're not being controlled by the elites because we're not answering to people like JP Morgan Chase? Is that maybe another strategy for crypto going forward?
I don't know if it's a strategy for crypto, but I think it's a strategy in this case for Charles Hoskinson. So, you know, kind of going back to, I'm not going to say anything that hasn't already really been said, but you know, I think this is just an opportunity specifically for them to capture a brand. And you know, it's arguable on what the wallet of choice is, but I would say that if I was a Fortune 500 bank, highly regarded, I would think MetaMask is probably at the top of that list, right? So just leveraging what's already been done, maybe piggybacking to be able to take further advantage on it of it here in the future. So this is just one example of what's to come in this space. I think more and more of this is going to pour into the market as things become more mainstream and as adoption becomes more evident long term. So
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so
Can,
moving on to the.
can I
Go ahead.
add a question since Keith is on here? Keith, I know I watch your videos. He came from even the forex and the stocks background before he got into crypto. And I don't know if you heard about the recent Citadels trying to get into crypto, trying to be market makers in crypto space. And we know that the stock market is pretty much very manipulated. How do you feel if these big companies like JP Morgan and Citadel starting to get more exposure to this and start making the markets in this field?
I think excuse me. I think the market is far less manipulated than people realize. I think what people see as manipulation is nothing more than the standard. People don't realize that 90+% of all trades on the stock market that are made via bots, and they're made about 10,000 times per nanosecond. This is not frowned upon. This is encouraged. They actually prefer this because it takes the human element out. There's far less worry, fear, blah, blah, blah. It's far less emotions. I say this all the time. There should be no emotions in investments. This is never more evident than in Forex and stocks. When it comes to manipulation, the way I look at it is, people don't realize this, but unlike most crypto has a cap. There's a number of coins and that's it. Well, with stocks, there could be endless numbers. You could have a quadzillion number of shares of Tesla. It could never stop. That's the way it works. It's an unlimited supply. It never stops. When say, oh, Elon's going to sell his stock. Yeah, that's how he makes his money. Of course he's going to sell. Do you think he was really going to listen to anybody on Twitter about whether he shouldn't sell or not? For God's sakes, no. He's going to sell whatever the fuck he wants to. He's a billionaire. He's the richest man in the world, but he has no capital. So whenever he needs money, folks, he's going to sell. He's going to take his money. He's going to buy a yacht, some strippers, some cocaine, whatever he wants. You don't have to like that. That's not manipulation. What is manipulation? What the state senator in North Carolina did right before the corona stuff started. That is manipulation. You do not get to share your shares on Sunday afternoon before the market opens. You do not get to do that. However, he did that. That is not cool. That is using your influence, hint, hint, to get stuff done in the back room. And I'm not cool with that at all. That is the manipulation. You might be talking about that. That's what I see as manipulation. That's using your power or your influence to get gain over everyone else, which is exactly what most of this new crypto stuff is too. So not cool with that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think there is a fine line and delineation between the two. So thank you for breaking that down as well. So the next one, we're going to hit on this quickly. We talked a lot about Russia in the last couple shows, but we definitely want to hit on this because it kind of came up since the last one. Pretty much what this is going to highlight is that Ukraine has raised more than $54 million as Bitcoin donations pour in. And I think it's actually a little bit more than that now because they started to add up the amount of Ethereum that they've gotten and also Polkadot. I think there was like $4 million of Polkadot that was given by the CEO of Polkadot and also Dogecoin. Really, the reason why I wanted to highlight this tonight is that, I think people are starting to see that cryptocurrency in general, being an unregulated or decentralized system, does have its benefits. And I think that more and more recently, there's been, free press for cryptocurrency. So specifically for this as a potential use case, what do you guys feel about this? Again, Keith, we'll start with you. What are your feelings on utilizing Bitcoin for donations, especially for like wartime and things like that?
Okay, cool. Bitcoin is probably one of the few fully decentralized, like it or not, fully decentralized. Cool. Guess what's not? Strong, XRP, XLM, ADA, Tezos. I don't care. None of those are decentralized. In fact, if they really wanted to, they could stop any transaction that they feel needed that's not decentralized. What is cool is that you can get money around without having to use a bank. It's almost like it'd be pointless to stop the banks. Hint, hint. But I like the fact that money's been able to come in. I hope they're not getting screwed over. I hope people aren't trying to get slippage on Ukraine. I hope people, what you don't know what slippage is when you get something and they sell it to you for a different price than you got it, even though they advertise a price. That's slippage. I hope they don't do that to them. I hope everything's on the up and up. I can't be for sure on that. I don't know where the money's actually going to these wallets. Who set the wallets up for them? Did they show? This sounds ridiculous. Did they show them how to use it? Did they show them how to actually use the wallets and move the money around so they can buy the things that they need? I don't really know. So I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I like the fact that they can do it. I think it's neat. If they can do it, so can Russia. So try to stop their money by shutting down SWIFT and see what happens. They'll just do business elsewhere, aka maybe China, maybe somewhere else, maybe India, maybe the UAE, maybe the Maldives, or maybe crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Smokey, what do you think?
So yeah, I think it's a good story. I think a lot of money was raised from NFTs of the Ukraine flag, and so it probably got a lot of new people into crypto that would not have otherwise ever bought crypto. It's almost kind of like buying war bonds. I bet in World War II there were a lot of people that never bought a bond before, but when the war happened, everybody was buying war bonds. So it's a little bit like that in a way. I think it's good for adoption. But my feeling is with crypto, the real test for crypto is, are you able to get money to an unpopular group, and are they able to use that for goods and services? Like what we saw with the Canadian truckers. It looked like there's still some. It looks like we're not fully there yet with crypto because a lot of the donations to the truckers, when they tried to cash that crypto into fiat, they weren't able to get their money. But as far as adoption goes, I think a lot of people were motivated to buy crypto and send that to Ukraine, which is great. And I think it's good for the space.
Absolutely. Let's see. We'll do Maverick. Maverick, what do you think about it?
Yeah, no, I think it's positive, right? If you have an opportunity to give money in a legitimate way, it's great. Now, I question what legitimate is, though, right? I would think that in any case, you never want to give any money or donation based on someone reaching out to you. You would always want to search it out yourself before giving money to anybody. And also, I'm sure this isn't the only avenue to give money to something like this. So if you're compelled to do so, then I would suggest, just like we do with any project, do your research on it first. Find something that compels you, that you have confidence in, that the money's being used in the right manner. Because there's a lot of ways to give money, and I'm sure, One Wallet over there, and I think, what was the name of this organization that's collecting funds? I forget. But yeah, this isn't the only opportunity to do so, to provide some help and assistance to those in need.
Yeah, and Myron?
Yeah, I think I agree with it's good to see things like this happening, but just as Keith said, if Ukraine can do this, so can Russia. But I also think though Russia has one of the largest Bitcoin holdings, I think, out of all the countries. I read somewhere it's like 15% officially or something like that. It's a large amount, and that's a public amount. And this could be conspiracy or could not be conspiracy, that they said, yeah, Keith said a lot of precious metals too. So they are, we see them as the bad guys, and they are the bad guys, but I don't think they were unprepared in what they were doing. And they have been preparing for this, and Putin is not a dumb person. I don't think he is stupid. So when he did this, there's a conspiracy that this can drive up the oil price, and then of course also could potentially drive up the crypto price, at which they hold a lot of it. And we don't know where this eventually is going to lead. Of course, right now, we see the oil price going up a lot. Of course, they're sanctioned, and we're not seeing the Bitcoin is really pumping, but we don't really know where it's going to go in the future. But this did, even articles like this, right? It's bringing attention, and now people will say, "Hey, well, so Bitcoin is not this illegal thing where people do money laundering and do all these bad things. We can do good things with it." So I think this is good news for crypto as a whole. But getting into this Russia war, it's a lot of controversy with this, but man, it feels like there's something more going on in the background, and I feel crypto may be a big part of something that Putin has in mind. Maybe he wants to take it somewhere.
Yeah, that you made up a really good point. And as the host, I didn't want to give a lot of opinions, but I will say specifically that in this scenario, the media is giving a different picture, and it's almost saying that, look, Bitcoin and this cryptocurrency can be good. A lot of these articles that we're seeing are showing cryptocurrency as swooping in and saving the day, but typically the same people are saying that it's used for bad, and that people are using cryptocurrency on the dark web, and that it deals with human trafficking and drugs. So I just think that it's interesting that when it comes to a war in Ukraine and in Europe, now it's great. It's a wonderful thing, but it's very particular how they phrase it and when they can utilize that narrative. All right, so moving on this one. So this is an article that was brought up. An individual that wrote a really popular, investment book and theory made some statements talking about how his suggestion is to buy Bitcoin and forget about it. This is the same individual, and Myron, you know more about this subject than I do, but this is the same individual that's been putting information out there for a long time. So
this is the rich dad poor dad guy, real estate, really.
Yeah, so go ahead, you can start with it, Myron.
So this guy, I have read a decent amount of his books. Of course, I read also Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it gives you a lot of good concepts I think that you don't really learn. But also he got rich, I also feel, because he's selling the course materials, not so much from his teaching itself. And so on this aspect, I think I don't really know how much he knows about crypto, but if I'll say this, if there is a coin where you just buy and you hold, if you're gonna do that with any coin, Bitcoin is probably the safest one to do, rather than these meme coins or these different projects and things like that. And this is where I think we can get probably better perspective on this. That sometimes, especially for me who's still trying to learn, get better at trading and things like that, some of these huge runs, I think what they say, if you miss a couple of days in the trading year where there's massive gains, you lose pretty much, you miss majority of the gains. And so basically majority of the gains happens in just a short period of time within a year. So rather than trying to, if you really don't know how to trade it perfectly, maybe this is the best idea, to just buy and hold it, and probably in the future that it's going to be most likely higher than where you bought it today. And rather than buying like I think we talked about last time too, an altcoin that may or may not be around, Bitcoin will probably be around. So I think this idea is good for the normal person if they want to get into crypto and they don't really want to worry about buying the dips and trading in and out. I think it's decent advice.
Smokey, what do you think?
So Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, somewhat of a legend. I'm fond of this guy. He's one of the first people to talk about central banks and the Federal Reserve in the early 2000s. It was kind of him and Ron Paul that brought all that stuff up. And I see him cited in the Strong Block community on Twitter a lot, because a lot of his books are about teaching middle-class people the different passive income stuff you can buy and things like that. But I'll say this, Robert Kiyosaki was telling me to buy silver in 2010 at about $28, and he said that's a buy and hold. And if you look at the, it's 2022 now, and silver's $25. So I don't really know if this is the guy who can really tell you, what a buy and hold is.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Mr. Maverick.
Yeah, so I got a lot of respect for this guy. He puts out content all the time that have benefited the community as a whole. I'm with you though, Smokey. You took the words out of my mouth. I don't know if I'd want to take advice on crypto from someone like him, right? Real world assets and the world that we live in are two much different things. Now, is that a safe bet? It may very well be. But there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, right? And there are those people that they play the long game. They don't have the time or the resources, or they don't want to put in the education to be able to maintain and check that price on a daily basis. So for those type of people, I can't say I disagree, but I don't think it's as simple as just telling everybody to buy, stash, and hold. Different flavors for different folks. So.
And Carolina Keith, I saved you for last on this one. Tell me all about it.
What'd you save me for last for?
Yeah, because I know you got a good opinion on this, and I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, I completely disagree. I don't long hold anything. Why? Because cryptocurrency essentially runs in cycles of bull and bear, and bear and bull, and bull and bear, and bear and bull. Why would I hold anything that's devaluing? And why would I hold any asset that's devaluing? Okay, I don't care what the asset is, whether that's a car, a house, crypto, a stock, a bond, doesn't matter what it is. Why would I hold something that's constantly devaluing? It's a terrible plan. Now, if you don't have the time to do anything, I get it. What else would you rather hold? Coca-Cola stock or Bitcoin? You might make a couple $1,000s on Coca-Cola stock. If you hold Bitcoin for a few years, you'll probably double your money, whatever it is. It's 100% gain. In the real world, stocks and crypto are completely different. Stocks, you might make 2 or 3% a week. Crypto moves 20% an hour. Okay, you can make more money. I get it. It's also he's going to sell a lot of books by mentioning crypto, because people will think he's into crypto. Oh, well, he's into crypto, then I'll do it. That's good for the community because it gets more people in. I don't mind that. Yeah, Bitcoin's a sale even on the month. So if that's the case, then why are you holding it? Why hold anything that's going to go down in value? And the argument's often given to me, well, I don't have time. Pause. Don't tell me about not having time. I work 12 hours a week, 12 hours a day, 60 hours a week for damn near 20 years. If I can do this, you can do this. It's simple as I don't want to do it, or I do want to do it. That sounds mean, and I don't mean it a mean way. What I mean is it's up to you to make your own future here. You can't expect anyone to do it for you. You have to commit. You have to learn how to do things on your own. You have to learn to do for yourself. You chose crypto. You chose to be your own broker. You chose to be your own financial advisor. Now learn it. You learn how to use a TV remote, learn how to use a smartphone, you learn how to play video games. We're using StreamYard right now, talking to people from all across the wherever. You can figure out how to do that. You can figure out how to read a chart and use one indicator. It's really as simple as that. I have 2 kids, girlfriend, animals. I'm on the HOA board. I'm doing a ton of things too. Yes, I recently have more time, but for the last 20 years I didn't. So I don't disagree. I don't think there's anything wrong with telling people to buy and forget. That's not a problem, especially for people who, think everybody's situation is different. I get it, but I don't long hold anything, and I won't long hold anything that's not a buy. I think someone mentioned that there's only a couple days out of the year to make money. I don't think that's the case either. I think that's whoever told you that's a little bit of a lazy argument. Every day you can make money in crypto. You just have to be willing to try.
No, I mean if you don't trade it, right? If you take out the like a dozen or so days out of the year where it has a massive runs, you miss out on majority of the gains. Let's say the stock is up like 20%, right? If you miss like week of the best, you be like up like
the exact inverse works though too. If you don't sell it, you lose everything you made.
Yeah, that's true.
It works exact the same way the other way too.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem that most people run into. They refuse to sell. They have diamond hands, which isn't a real thing. And they lose everything they make, and they think, I'll make more later. How do you know that? You got a crystal ball? Well, that's what you're here for, Keith. No. All I do is find prices on a chart. I don't tell you the future. And I think one thing sometimes too. So
that you said so well, because I watch your streams every week, right? And the one thing I think you said so well, maybe it was in your Discord. You said you never DCA on a downtrend. Man, that was eye opening for me.
Correct. You don't dollar cost average on a downtrend. Why would I continue to put more money in something that's going down? Wait for it to find a bottom and start an uptrend, and then dollar cost average. That way you get your money back as you go. If you want to put money in crypto and you don't want to buy a downtrend, hey everybody, we have stable coins. Mm-hmm. They pay you 28 to 20% to do nothing, everybody. Robert Kiyosaki, why not tell people to stake stable coins? You make free money.
Yep. And I think what we can agree on here, and what you guys are saying is that this isn't bad advice, but it's not the most efficient advice.
Fair.
Can we agree on that?
Fair.
Yeah.
Not bad, not the most efficient. He'll sell some books for sure.
Absolutely. And that's the goal, right?
I'm not going to knock a businessman. I'm not.
Exactly. All right. Up for the next one, we've got Polygon includes $23 billion sports betting company DraftKings as a network validator. So I think this is pretty big news. We'll get into it a little bit more, but pretty much what this is saying is that real world companies that are operating off blockchain, looks like they're starting to get into cryptocurrency by purchasing validator nodes. I think that's a pretty big investment for their company, but anybody could have done that, right? I guess the question that we will have going forward is, will other real world assets get into crypto? And if they do, is this something that might catch on where large companies start buying validator nodes? So first up, we'll start with Mr. Maverick.
Yeah. Again, I think we're seeing kind of a trend. Now, I will say that sports betting kind of hinges on the crypto edge, right? There's a lot of betting that's going on within crypto as well. There's online casinos and all that, which is pretty fun to watch from time to time. But these guys live in the tech industry, so I would say that they're probably a little closer to this arena than most organizations. So I think this is kind of like the natural adopters, right? The people that are kind of already in the know and understand it and probably participating at some level within the industry already. So this is just one way for them to kind of put a stamp on their organization and to create some positive press. Now, I do think this will grow into something larger as time goes on, because I think we had a private conversation earlier amongst some of us that the validator nodes is kind of where we envision the future being in some cases. So I don't know. I like it. This is, I think, the first organization I've seen that's publicly posted this. So I'm eager to see what happens here in the future with other organizations kind of following suit, because they will.
Yeah, that's good. Carolina Keith.
What is the date? Do we know when they did that?
This was published on March 8th.
Yeah. Looking at the chart, they hella bought the top. They're going to lose value. They're going to lose value pretty rapid. This is how I think about everything. I know it's not the normal way everyone else thinks, and I may be obtuse in that, but I immediately start thinking about how can I make my money back? Yeah, they bought the absolute top. That kind of sucks, but I think it's good. I like it. What does it mean? It means, to me, it's good advertising. It's them saying, hey, look, we're more serious than everybody else, and we want to be XXX. So when it's time to do XXX, remember, we did it first, right? I saw a really cool 10-second video the other day. It was Family Guy. My buddy Andrew sent it to me. He's talking about war. He says something to the effect of, anybody who doesn't want to go to war is gay. And they're talking to Congress. And all of Congress goes, well, I want to go to war. I want to go to war. Yeah. And then one guy stands up and says, I wanted to go to war before everybody else, So this is kind of one of those situations to me. I feel like it's a little bit of good advertising for them. For them, it's minimal profit lost. They make a shit ton of money. Let's be real. They could afford to have bought 3,000 validator notes. They bought one. Cool. I like that. It kind of seems like really good marketing to me, more so than anything else. I would like to see other big companies do it. Let's say Coinbase does it. Crypto.com does it. Everybody we have on our exchange, we have a validator node for. Now we're talking. That would be badass. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point of view. Next up will be Myron, and I'll add this to it as well. What I was thinking when I read this, is this potentially a hint that maybe something like a large company like DraftKings goes on the blockchain? Could this be a hint that, they're investing in a company like Polygon, and maybe one day we see their project on crypto, in a crypto space, maybe in Polygon?
Yeah, fantasy football NFTs, I mean, maybe you own player NFTs, you get fantasy football points with those, and you can trade them with other players. I could see something like that existing.
Absolutely. But yeah, so Myron, what are your thoughts on this article?
So they just bought one? Is that what happened?
That's what it's saying. It's
Okay.
saying they, have a network validator.
Well, first of all, DraftKings, man, look at the stock price. It's one of these fantasy names that ran super hard last year, and now it's, I think it's come to earth, but I think it's still overvalued at this price, fundamentally speaking. I don't think they're profitable yet. They have money, but I don't think they're profitable yet. So this, I almost think, not even from crypto aspect. Of course, this is positive for crypto, but what are you doing, DraftKings, unless you wanted to just Keith said, some marketing gimmick, or they want to eventually come, hey, DraftKings nodes, RPC endpoints, Polygon validators. I don't know, but I don't really see. Maybe this truly is them trying to make a step towards coming into the crypto space. But if I was an investor or on the board, I'll be like, dude, what are you guys doing? You guys need to fix your business first, become profitable, then worry about these other stuff.
Yeah, according to the article, it says that the Polygon validators have earned $770 million in rewards since they've started. So, to date. So, I mean, maybe they're looking at this, maybe they're betting on Polygon and saying, this project will be around a long time, and we're kind of putting our money where our mouth is type deal.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is don't forget, I mean, in my circle of friends and family, like I know maybe 2 other people that are in crypto, and if I ever talk about crypto with other people, they almost kind of feel like I'm there's almost this feeling that I'm talking about participating in the black market, you know, even though it's really common to us. So getting a big company like DraftKings on is really good for the space. And also don't forget, earlier in the night, we just found out that JP Morgan has owned possibly the majority of MetaMask for almost 2 years, and we're just finding out about it. So there's a good chance that a lot of these other companies own validator nodes too, and we just don't know about it yet.
Yeah, good point. That's a very good point. All right, as we move on, we have a couple small articles here that we kind of wanted to discuss as well. These are events that have happened in the crypto space, and I'm sure you guys know about this as well. But 2 crypto influencers that were involved in Phantom and a lot of Phantom projects stepped away from Phantom and pretty much said we're done, and they're closing up shop on multiple Phantom projects. If you're not aware of what happened, you can check it out online. But there's 2 fairly large individuals that are involved in this, and I wanted to get your guys' opinions. And I'll start it off by saying what this showed me is that in crypto in general, we're still very naive and we're still young, and we have a lot of emotional investors, and that kind of sucks, because when stuff like this happens, that's when it really shows. So we'll start off here with Smokey, and yeah, what do you think about these events that have happened recently?
So I have to say, I don't know a whole lot about this guy. I'd have Myron kind of explain this one to me before we went on tonight. But anytime a huge name leaves a project, it's always, a red flag. You want to know, what does this guy know that we don't know? I think of when, if you guys are all old enough to remember the Enron collapse, Lou Pai, the CEO of Enron, left in January 2001. And by September or October of 2001, we saw the largest bankruptcy in history. So, that's kind of shaped my opinion of whenever I see a big person in any space or company just leave out of nowhere and you don't really know why, it's always a little bit scary.
Yeah, Mr. Maverick, what do you think about this?
Yeah, this one boggles my mind, man. This is completely out of left field. And, hindsight being what it is, people said, oh, there were signs on Twitter and all that. But, man, I don't have time to be looking at that kind of stuff. I will say that it is a little weird, right? That there's so little information. And right, this discussion we're having now, it's all speculation. Nobody has any idea why or, what's going on behind the scenes. So I would tell everybody, if anything, just tread carefully. It's pretty crazy. You just clicked on that site and they all say, hey, we're basically closing up shop. And this just happened, out of the blue. So, yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. I still believe in FTM in some capacity. I think it's a good technology. There's a lot of users within it. I think it's going to continue to grow. But hey, red flags, right? Red flags all around.
Carolina Keith.
I'll answer this with a couple questions first. What's rule number 1 of investing, Draco?
Rule number 1 of investing?
That I go by.
Well, do your research.
Nope. Rule number 1 of investing: no emotions.
Well, yeah.
No emotions allowed. You just mentioned emotional investors, or someone did. No emotions allowed. Yeah, no emotions allowed. Another thing you may or may not know: how many people in the crypto industry do I trust?
Hopefully 0.
0. I don't trust people to make decisions for me. I also don't trust developers. I don't trust front men. I don't trust CEOs. I don't trust community managers. I don't trust any of these people. This is why I only chart, because charts are trustable. Everything else is manipulatable. Charts are simply mathematics and geometry on a page. They don't lie. People do. Interestingly enough, everybody on Twitter knows everything. So I don't know why you guys aren't there watching. Everybody on Twitter knows everything. You guys are simply not paying attention, clearly. That's me being hella sarcastic.
Got that.
Yeah, so these things are going to happen. A bunch of the stuff that he was involved in was kind of knockoffs anyway. So, oh well. I didn't even know who he was. I mean, this sounds bad. I don't really care who he is. I only care about the charts. And if the chart looks good, the fundamentals will be there and the price will continue to go up. If the fundamentals are bad, the chart will reflect that. Some excellent examples of that are Sears, Evergrande, and any other company like that, like Enron, US Fidelis, or any other company that has bad fundamentals. The chart will reflect that. I don't need to worry about those fundamentals. They will show themselves to me on the chart. Who has good fundamentals? Coca-Cola, Tesla, Google, Meta, whether you like them or not. They have good fundamentals. They make a shit ton of money. They have good business fundamentals. They're going to continue to trend up.
Yeah, that's also another really good opinion. And Myron.
So this guy is he is a big name in DeFi. I think he was around even back in the days when most people don't even know what DeFi is. And I think Keith mentioned it well that I think in this space people kind of get tied to personalities or even like a cult-like status or even their projects. People get into the cult type of mentality for projects. If you talk bad about the project, it's like you offended them personally. And I can he did work with Daniele from Wonderland Time. And the thing is, even in Wonderland Time, it created this cult-like following for Frog Nation. That's what they call it. And the thing is, so he did Spell, Time, and also Popsicle Finance. And I think people bought into all these projects, not because they really even know about the project, just because Danny was behind it. And of course, we know how that turned out. If you look at the price of Time, was it Spell and Ice? I mean, they have crashed. Of course, you had the Sifu incident, but I think that's a great thing. Where how many people sold? Okay, how many people do you think saw this and immediately went to FTM? Is like, oh, I'm selling all my FTM. When he's not even that big of a name anymore in FTM, there's so many other people working on the project. So I think it comes really down to. I mean, that's a great rule. Where kids are saying no emotions. I mean, I get emotional. Everyone gets emotional. It's extremely hard to control. And if trading, I feel like is more of a psychological game than because you can give people all the strategies, they still can't execute it. So I haven't looked at the FTM, but man, that I bet some of the huge crashes was because of news. I know Bitcoin dropped a little bit around that time too, but Phantom dropped way more than the other altcoins. It shouldn't be hit that hard, but
yeah, it dropped pretty hard.
Yeah, and I mean it's rough, right? But the thing is, did you buy into Phantom because Andre? Like, how many people even knew Andre, or did they buy into it because Andre? Or if they did, they shouldn't have done that. They made a mistake.
Well, and if you spend enough time on Twitter, you come to the conclusion that if we all just band together and stop saying any FUD at all about any project, then the whole market will turn around.
Yeah, that seems to be the popular sentiment, right? Yeah, my personal opinion on this is, again, just like I said at the beginning, it's just too much emotion. Get the emotion out of it and start, doing what you're supposed to be doing. And obviously, this would be considered kind of like a black swan event for this project. Somebody, large leaving, but the project's not going to die because those two people left. That project is way bigger than just those two people. So this is just a black eye on all of the projects that are involved on Phantom, and it's just unfortunate. So, and you know what? And I'll bring up and this will be right here is talking about this. Apple CEO founder says many cryptocurrencies are ripoffs, but only one is pure gold. And they're talking right here. They're talking about Bitcoin. So I'll go with you guys, and we'll start with Myron. We'll start with you.
So like I said before, I think if you were to hold anything long term and you just buy and you just hold it, you just forget. If you're gonna do that, Bitcoin is probably the safest one to do. You may not get some insane gains like you have with the altcoins, but you also, I don't think, will have the necessary worries of saying, hey, Bitcoin one day is just gonna be just going to be gone like some of the projects. I think in the 2017 run, right, with the insane ICOs. So, we don't know what his investment strategy is, but in this sense, I don't necessarily agree that this is the only one that's good. I think there's other, but I mean, you don't do transactions on Bitcoin, right? Fundamentally, that's where Ethereum came to be, right? So you can do the smart contracts and stuff, but who's making, it's not Bitcoin is just, I think if you really compare it to things in real life, it's essentially just gold, where you can kind of do stuff with gold, but I mean, silver is, you can do way more stuff with silver. So I think I agree in the perspective that, hey, this is, I know he's like pure gold mathematic, but he means like the mathematic maybe is good mathematics. So it's good in the sense, hey, if you're gonna buy something, hold it, choose Bitcoin. But I don't know what else that there is to read into this. So I guess he's invested, which is a good thing. I mean, this is a smart guy. I think he's the true brains behind Apple, and not Steve Jobs. Not Steve Jobs. He's more of the marketer guy.
Smokey, what do you think?
So, I mean, it's hard to totally disagree with the sentiment of what he's saying. So, a lot of us follow DeFi, and I would say for every strong block, you probably have 10 rings, so most of them are scams. You do have to have street smarts to play around in DeFi, otherwise you're going to get wrecked. And, he's talking to the mainstream crowd. I think that is the proper advice for the mainstream crowd, I mean, the people that are going to find DeFi, are people that are really into this, and everybody else, I don't know if they really should be buying altcoins. It probably is stupid for 90% of the population to buy anything other than Bitcoin. And even in DeFi, it's like, I thought there were, well, as far as DeFi goes, yeah, there's a lot of scams, but Strong, Time, and Ohm, those are all safe. That was kind of the sentiment in most of 2021, and Time turned out to be a rug. So I think it's fine for him to say that, especially to his audience.
Yeah, and then Mr. Maverick.
Yeah, no, I think it's silly for him to say something like that. I mean, come on, we all can appreciate and understand Bitcoin is the hegemon. It's, what made all of this world that we live in now possible. But to say one thing is pure gold, come on. There's different use cases. It's just one wheel, and it may be the biggest wheel within the conglomerate of cogs that make cryptocurrency what it is today. But still, I mean, BitCurrency has its limitations. So yeah, I mean, I guess fundamentally what he's saying, there may be some truth to it, but to say that it is the one pure gold, man, I just can't buy into that theory. In fact, you know what? I would dare to say that for every Bitcoin holder, there's holders of many other coins out there. And so, it's speculative for what he's saying. I don't think it's 100% truth, just in my opinion.
And Carolina Keith.
I think he's good at selling Apple and marketing. I think he knows absolutely nothing about investments. That's the easy answer. The better answer is there are tons of things to make money on. Interestingly enough, let's bring up precious metals for a second. Anybody have a gold bar they can take to a gas station and buy some 87 octane with right now?
Nope.
You can't use
Negative.
gold to buy gas? Wait a minute. But gold's the real true hedge. But you can't use it for shit. You can't buy groceries with it. You can't buy diapers. You can't buy insulin. You can't buy fuel. You can't buy anything with gold.
And another good point to
fiat.
that is,
Just
and
wait
when
till
you
the
buy it,
collapse.
you instantly lose money on it, because
100%.
once you buy it and you own it, the only way to get rid of it is to sell it to an exchange or like a local pawn shop or one of those We Buy Gold. And what are they going to do? They're going to rip you. They're not going to pay dollar for dollar what it's worth.
Remember when I talked about Ukraine and slippage? There you go. Now
Exactly.
you're going to deal with slippage because they're going to sell it for a profit. You're not, unless it goes way up in value. And then this is where the chart comes into play. Oh, gold's trending up. Yeah, maybe you should have bought some. Gold's trending down. Probably should sell it for something else. Real simple. Now, is Bitcoin the only thing that's worth buying? That's dumb at a minimum. In fact, If you wanted to say something was true gold, you should have said buy Apple stock. There you go. There's something that'll make you tons of money. Just buy Apple stock. This seems like he's playing to an audience. He's playing to an audience, and the audience wants to cheer him, and he wants to say something that's cheerworthy, and that was something that's cheerworthy. Good marketing, but I don't know that he knows anything about investments. Imagine that he has a great degree. He's probably an extremely smart individual, and I bet if you wanted to learn about charts, he could learn it very quickly. Doesn't seem like he knows anything about them, though, because Bitcoin is downtrending. It has been for several months. It's not pure gold.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that brings us towards the end here, and I'd like to, let everybody kind of get some final thoughts. And I think that there's a common theme here that we have tonight, and I think that one of the common themes that we had was, everybody's looking at investment opportunities. We want to make sure that big business and big tech doesn't get too much of their hands on it. And I think regulation is important to an extent, but we don't want to get it overregulated to where it's just like every other asset, where all of the people that join in at the bottom level get screwed and everybody at the top gets rich, and it's definitely not us. And I think that that's kind of what we're looking at here. And on top of that, that Bitcoin is the OG. It was the original cryptocurrency. And that I think there's a lot of sentiment out there that's saying that, as we shy farther and farther away from the OG, we're starting to see more and more issues pop up. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think time will tell for that. But obviously Bitcoin right now, just like in 2020 and 2021, is getting a heck of a lot of attention. So, as we close this out, I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on where we're going forward and what we can expect maybe in the next few months. And to be honest with you, I see a lot of sideways action and a lot of downtrends and, good news and bad news, just more like the battle like we've been seeing over the last couple months. Myron, you first.
Well, say the one thing that I'm slowly learning more and more is just to have some patience, because when I first started, it's it's almost like daily I want to do something or buy something, and that's great for scalping, I guess. That's great for day trading, but I'm not really a day trader or scalper. So honestly, for the past couple of weeks, I've been sitting back, not done much, and those couple things I did buy didn't really work out. So honestly, I probably would have made more money just kind of relaxing. And and the thing is, and not because I wouldn't have lost it, but I'm so glad we have Keith on here, because I still want to get a listen with you, Keith. And I'm going through your videos. I mean, you're booked up until like May now with June, so it's a long time, but definitely. And the thing is, I'm not experienced. I'm trying to learn more, but I don't have as much experience as I guess someone like Professor Keith does. But I mean, I want eventually one day to go into full-time crypto, DeFi and trading, and that's what it really interests me. But I think right now, since the market is extremely shaky, it's not the bull market we had before where you buy every single dip and you're making money. I think for me, I'm just, and maybe for most people, just kind of relax and just keep that buying power.
Smokey.
Over the next few months, I think the thing I'm going to be paying attention to the most is just how this war is going to affect just the overall crypto space. Are we going to see more and more countries get virtual currencies? We've seen Russia. They're working on their own virtual currency. Of course, the USA is, China is, India is. Is this going to lead to more adoption? Are we going to see an overall market cap increase as far as the entire sector goes because more people are getting in? Is it going to get more legitimate because of this? Those are the things I'm going to be paying attention to. I don't know how to do charts yet. Otherwise, I would be following that a lot more closely. But I plan on learning at some point in 2022 through Keith's videos. So,
Mr. Maverick, what do you think? What are you going to be focusing on, and what are you going to be paying attention to?
Well, I feel like when there's uncertainty and doubt, the best thing to do sometimes is nothing, right? So I've taken some advice from Myron specifically, and I've stabled up in certain occasions, and it's saved me, right? And I'm focusing on just a few things that I believe in, and I'm not going to shill those things here. But I will say that my opportunities are very limited, at least the things I'm looking at. And, as time moves on, even just being a part of this B&B group here, it's helping me to think differently. I think I've been thinking in terms of DeFi for a long time now because it's interesting. It's kind of cutting edge. It's experimental. And I mean, in general, it's really cool what people are doing. But there's a lot of risk with it. And so I guess learning a little bit more patience and trying to be a little bit more risk adverse with my funds. And so, yeah, I kind of second what Smokey was saying. One of my goals for this year was to become a little bit more intelligent in the charting space and truly understanding what we're looking at versus just relying on how we feel about something or the way somebody has explained it and made it bright and shiny and, created just this following that we all can rally behind. So, yeah, I think those would be wise words that I think we could all take with us, right? Is to learn some patience, learn some new skills like charting, and, be wise with our money to live for another day in this market.
Yeah, I very much agree. And before we let Keith close us out with some of his parting words and his opinions, I have to say that I've been humbled by this space and the knowledge that people have, and I take the opportunities as an individual to try to gather as much information and opinions as possible. There is no requirement in my group in Bourbon and Blockchain that we're all a part of, or in Keith's group, to everybody to agree. There's no requirement to agree with me. But if you're going to have an opinion, it's best to have an opinion with facts and to voice your opinion intelligently and calmly. There's no reason to argue. We have no time for that, and we won't tolerate that type of behavior, because if you can't control your emotions and articulate how you feel and get a point across without arguing or screaming or fighting, then maybe you're not mature enough to even invest. So that's the type of environments that I suggest people get themselves into. And that's why I surround myself with the people that I surround myself with. And I agree with you 100%, Mr. Maverick. I listen to what people say. I take in, other people's information, and I make informed decisions based off of what people are telling me and what I'm paying attention to. And that's why we like to have conversations with people like Carolina Keith. So, sir, thank you very much for coming tonight. I'd like to give you an opportunity to give us your opinions on what to look for over the next couple of months, what you're paying attention to, and some words of wisdom, my friend.
Well, cool. Thank you. Well, I'm nobody special, so I don't want you guys to think I'm some kind of super genius. I'm not. I'm just a dude. How did I get here? I spent a lot of time charting, and I kept failing at it until I got good at it. And once I got good at it, I found out what I did good, and I tried to push it harder. I failed, found my breaking points, and I pushed it harder and harder and harder. Then I got to where I am now. Are there still breaking points? Yes. I'm not perfect. What am I in right now? My moves are all public. I put them in the unlimited chat over in our Discord. I pin every move I make. I pin it up in the unlimited chat, so everyone knows my wallet's full disclosure. I'm in 95% stables. Anchor Protocol, Voyager, Nexo all pay you very well to do nothing. Nothing. What isn't in stable coins is in nodes, and I can't take that money out anyway. So it's going to stay there. I can't take it out. It pays me to leave it in. Again, getting paid to do nothing. It's not rocket English to get paid to do nothing. I don't know who said it, but he said, when everything looks bad, just relax. I don't know how many times I have to say relax. I get drunk on stream to show everybody to relax. Relax. Everything's fine. Take your emotions out. Have a breath. Have a drink and think a little bit. Just today, I got muted in the Strong Block chat over in their Discord for simply disagreeing with a scammer. And I didn't get mean. I just said, hey, man, I think your company will probably fail, and it's not your fault. You're just an employee there. You don't even know. And I gave a whole list of reasons, why I think so. And the guy pulled out one line and said, this is why. You get the unintelligence of the conversation real quick. I'm able to remove my emotions about it and just have a conversation. Love me or hate me, whatever. I'm not emotional about it. I do laugh. Sometimes. I enjoy laughter, but that's about it. I'm able to remove my emotions. I realize most can't. And I can't carry a conversation with people who can't when you're so emotional about what you're doing. And you have no idea that those assets are completely unemotional about you. it speaks to me that I'm not going to be able to have an intelligent conversation with most people. In fact, something I've learned, here's some inside information for you guys. I do private consults, and when I do private consults, I can see the people one-on-one who I'm talking to. I've had 3 people under 25 years old who actually wanted to learn how to chart. Everybody else over 25 or higher, way higher. Those people want to learn how to take care of their money. Everybody, this is just a generality, and I hate generalities, but I'm trying to make a point. Everybody under 25 just doesn't seem to care. They don't seem to care. They're more willing to just blow their money. I hate seeing that for our younger generation. I'd love for you guys to really take a big step here and understand that I don't hate you. I'm not emotional about it at all. And I would love to teach you. I would love to teach anyone. That's my job. This is what I do for a living. I don't ask that you come and do a private class. You can just come hang out on the stream and listen to what I'm saying. You can come hang out in the general chat. It's freaking free. I don't charge for that. I want people to be smarter. I want the space to be smarter. That's my whole goal from day one when I started a Telegram group and then a Discord. Let's teach people to be smarter. That's it. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But I want a smarter community. What do I think about the future here? Everything's trending down. At best, sideways for a while because trends don't just instantly reverse. It's not how it works. It's harder to create an uptrend than it is a downtrend. So for that matter, while it's in a downtrend, have a drink and relax. Stable coins pay you to do nothing. So sit in stables and be smart. You can quickly get out of those stables. So why not? Smoky Mountain just asked me, do I think Strong is going bankrupt? Nope. I think they have plenty of money. I don't, again, the fundamentals don't too much matter to me. I can see the rewards wallet. The rewards wallet was dwindling. They're going to fill up the rewards wallet. That gives me a minimum of 5 to 6 months to get even more money out. I will do that. I will get more money out. Be smart, everybody. It's your money. Never invest more than you're willing to root and you're willing to lose because you're going to lose sometimes. Lose small. Buy the dip is not a strategy. We buy uptrends. We don't buy downtrends. Be smart, everybody. There's my advice.
Absolutely. That's great advice, sir. And before you go, did you want to spend a second and show us the chart on liver nodes, or do you want to save that for another time?
You know what? I can't give you a chart on liver nodes. Whitelist only, bro.
Oh, okay.
Whitelist only. Whitelist only. We're gonna have an NFT lottery. There'll be kidney NFTs, small intestine NFTs. But unless you get an NFT, you can't whitelist, bro. Everybody knows this. Okay.
I'm going for the mass cirrhosis node.
Quit fudding. You're fudding. Quit fudding, sir. No FUD allowed.
I apologize.
Mute. Mute. I'm muting you right now. Mute.
Don't get emotional.
Should I go all in? Should I go all in on this? We're like only 95% in.
Why haven't you already went all in? I don't know. We're here to stay. We're fully doxxed. Bro.
All right. Well, that wraps up the show for us, everybody. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for listening. Caroline and Keith, thank you very much. You're a legend. We'll be back. We're going live on Mondays and Thursdays around 8:30. Come in next week. We're going to be going a little bit later at 9 o'clock. We have a special guest. We're going to be talking to the COO of Grid Plus hard wallets. They're going to be coming on the show, and we're going to be talking about security and cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency security. So join us then. It was great talking. Thanks for listening, and have a great night, everybody.
Yep. Thank you, Keith.
Yep. Thanks, Keith.
You're welcome, guys.
Thank you
for having me.